stop saving "you're beautiful." Say this instead, "I see you." Because beauty is not just about what the eyes capture. Beauty is about presence, about the way someone feels when they are in front of you. When you tell her, "You're beautiful," it's kind, yes, but it's generic. It's the safe compliment, the one every woman has heard 1,000 times. And when words are repeated too often, they lose their depth. Instead, notice her. Notice the way her voice softens when she speaks about something she loves. Notice the way her body leans closer when she feels safe. Notice the fire in her when she laughs. Say, "I love how your eyes light up when you talk about your dreams." Say, "The way you look at me right now makes me want to get lost in you." Say, "When you enter the room, the energy shifts. I feel it in my chest." This is not flattery. This is intimacy. It is not about describing her appearance. It is about reflecting her essence. When a woman feels seen, not just looked at, but truly seen, desire is born. Because desire does not live in repetition. Desire lives in surprise. It lives in depth. It lives in the sense that you are paying attention. So stop saving "you're beautiful." Say what you actually see, and then she will want you, not because you noticed her face, but because you noticed her soul. We live in a culture where compliments are often reduced to shortcuts. The words "you're beautiful" are perhaps the most common of all, and yet their very frequency makes them hollow. Think about it. When a woman hears this phrase, does it land as something new, or does it echo like an old melody played for the 1,000th time? At first, she might smile, she might even say "thank you," but inside she knows you are not saying something about her. You are repeating a line that has been said to countless others before. There is no intimacy in a phrase that has lost its specificity. It becomes background noise, a social reflex rather than a genuine reflection of connection. Intimacy is born from originality. It is born from the sense that this moment is ours alone. When you say, "You're beautiful," you are not creating intimacy. You are repeating what every man before you has said. It's a phrase that sits on the surface, like a compliment chosen from the bargain bin. And here's the truth. What is common rarely feels special. What is predictable rarely ignites desire. A woman doesn't just want to hear that she looks good. She wants to feel that you have truly paid attention. She wants to know that you see the detail in her, the nuance, the things that others overlook. Let me give you an image. Imagine walking through a crowded market filled with noise and voices. Suddenly, one voice calls your name in a way that pierces through the chaos. You turn because it is distinct. It is directed at you. That is what happens when you replace the generic "you're beautiful" with something alive, specific, and present. You cut through the noise. You create a moment of recognition that says, "I see you," not just a woman, not just another face, you. And this is the essence of intimacy, to feel recognized in a way that cannot be confused with anyone else. Now consider the psychological dynamic. Desire does not grow in sameness. Desire is fed by surprise, by curiosity, by the unexpected turn. When she hears "you're beautiful," her mind files it away instantly. But when you say, "I love the spark in your eyes when you disagree with me," or "the way your laughter fills the room makes me lose track of everything else," suddenly her body reacts, she feels it. She leans in because you have given her a mirror, not of her appearance, but of her aliveness. This is no longer a generic compliment. This is the beginning of erotic tension, because eroticism thrives on being seen in ways that are not obvious. And here is the paradox. We think that beauty is the thing women want to hear about most. But in reality, women know they are beautiful, or they have been told it enough times to no longer feel its depth. What they crave is the recognition of the unseen, the subtle detail, the way her eyes soften when she talks about her mother, the way her hands move when she explains something she is passionate about, the way her energy shifts when she feels desired. These are the places where intimacy is built. These are the places where desire begins. And when you keep reaching for the easy compliment, you rob both of you of the opportunity to go deeper. So, the next time you're tempted to say, "You're beautiful," pause. Ask yourself, am I offering her something that reflects this exact moment? Or am I repeating something I could say to anyone? Because if your words could be said to anyone, they will mean very little to her. But if your words belong only to her, in this moment, spoken in this way, they become unforgettable. That is the difference between flattery and intimacy. That is the difference between what makes her smile politely and what makes her body open with desire. Admiration is easy. Anyone can admire from a distance. You can admire a sunset, a painting, a dress, or a woman walking by on the street. But to truly see someone is different. To see is to enter into intimacy. To see is to say, "I am paying attention, I am present, and I recognize something in you that others might overlook." Women don't just long for admiration. Admiration can feel flattering, yes, but it can also feel shallow. What creates real connection, what stirs desire, is when she feels that you have noticed her in a way that goes beyond the surface. When she feels seen, she does not feel like an object. She feels like a person who matters. When you admire, you focus on the exterior, the hair, the smile, the dress. But when you see, you focus on the interior. You notice the way her voice trembles slightly when she talks about something vulnerable. You notice the way she shifts in her chair when she is excited, or the way her eyes drift to the side when she's remembering something tender. To be seen is to feel exposed and cherished at the same time. And this is where intimacy lives, not in the grand gestures, but in the subtle recognitions that say, I am with you, I am attentive, and you are not invisible to me. Here's the deeper truth. Admiration often keeps desire at a distance. It is safe. It is one-sided. You stand back and admire as if you were looking at a work of art. But to see someone requires you to step closer, to risk more, to acknowledge not just her beauty, but her complexity. It says, I notice the way your energy shifts when you're passionate, or I see how strong you try to be when you're actually hurting inside. These are not compliments you could give to just anyone. They are observations that reveal that you are present. And presence is what turns admiration into connection. When a woman feels seen, her body responds differently. Admiration may make her smile, it may stroke her ego for a moment. But being seen makes her soften, it makes her lean in, it makes her want to open up. Because deep down, every human being has the same longing to be understood, to be known, to be held in their uniqueness. When you only admire, you reduce her to a single quality: beauty, charm, attractiveness. When you see, you expand her. You reflect back the depth of her identity, the multi-layered self that is often invisible in a world that only looks skin deep. And so, the shift is simple yet profound. Stop treating admiration as the end of the conversation. Don't let it stop at "you're gorgeous" or "you're stunning." Instead, ask yourself, what am I really noticing right now? Is it the way her laughter makes you feel more alive? Is it the way her confidence fills the room with energy? Is it the quiet way she listens that makes you feel understood? Speak these things. Say them aloud. Because when you do, you are not just admiring, you are seeing. And when she feels seen, she feels desired in a way that admiration alone will never give her. There is a profound difference between saying something that anyone could say and saying something that only you could say in this moment to her. Specificity is what transforms words from cliches into intimacy. Think about it. You're beautiful could be spoken by a stranger passing by on the street. It requires no attention, no presence, no courage. But when you speak with specificity, the way your voice drops when you're serious gives me chills. You are offering something that cannot be borrowed, cannot be recycled. It belongs to her, it belongs to you, it belongs to now. That is the power of specificity. It is a difference between making her smile politely and making her entire body awaken. Specificity signals attention. It says, I am not simply looking at you, I am noticing you. And in relationships, attention is the ultimate aphrodisiac. Desire feeds on being noticed in ways that feel unique. When you tell her, I love the way your hair catches the light when you move, you're not just describing her, you're capturing a moment that only you witnessed. You are showing her that you are attuned, that your gaze is not casual but intentional. And when a woman feels this level of attention, she experiences something rare, the sense that she is not just desirable but unforgettable. The brain, too, responds differently to specificity. Generic compliments activate polite gratitude, but specific observations activate emotion. They create memory. They anchor the moment. If I say to you, you're smart, you will likely forget it within minutes. But if I say, the way you connected those two ideas just now, I've never thought of it that way before, you will remember. Because specificity ties words to an experience. It links them to the body, to the senses, to the story unfolding between us. And this is what makes desire linger, not broad strokes, but the fine brushwork of attention. Specificity also reveals vulnerability. To be specific, you must be present. You must risk showing that you are paying close attention. For many people, this feels exposing. It is much easier to say, you look great, than to say, watching you speak with that much conviction makes me want to kiss you. The first is safe, generic, forgettable. The second is bold, precise, and alive. It carries risk, but it also carries impact. And in intimacy, risk is what makes connection electric. Specificity tells her, I am not afraid to name what I feel. I am not afraid to show what I notice. And that courage, that willingness to be exact is deeply attractive. So when you speak, ask yourself, am I offering something that could belong to anyone? Or am I speaking in a way that belongs to her right now, in this moment? Replace the vague with the precise. Instead of, you're beautiful, say, the way you look at me right now makes me forget what I was about to say. Instead of, you're sexy, say, the curve of your smile is undoing me. These are not rehearsed lines, they are truths that come from paying attention. And when you offer specificity, you create impact, the kind that lingers in her body, the kind that keeps her wanting more. Desire is not born in repetition. It does not live in the safe patterns of what is expected. Desire thrives in the unexpected, in the moments where attention transforms the ordinary into something charged. When you say the same thing over and over, when you rely on the predictable, desire withers. But when you notice what others overlook, when you bring freshness into your words and actions, you create surprise. And surprise is erotic. It makes the familiar feel alive again. It awakens the body with curiosity, with anticipation, with the delicious uncertainty of what comes next. Attention is the fuel of this process. Because to create surprise, you must first be present. You must watch closely, listen deeply, feel the subtle shifts that others miss. Imagine her laughing. Most people will only hear the sound. But you notice the way her shoulders relax when she lets go. You notice the way her eyes sparkle when she finds something truly funny. And instead of just saying, "You're cute when you laugh," you lean in and say, "The way you just laughed made me want to stop time." This is attention turned into surprise. She does not expect it. She feels disarmed, not because you are flattering her, but because you are revealing something intimate that only you could have noticed. That is where desire ignites. Surprise breaks routine, predictable and necessary for stability. But desire does not grow in stability, it grows in tension. It needs friction, it needs contrast. A woman who hears the same line again and again may feel admired, but she will not feel desired. Desire asks for more. It asks for you to shift the script, to inject playfulness, to risk saying something that could catch her off guard. "You just looked at me like you're about to cause trouble," has far more impact than "You look nice tonight." Why? Because it disrupts the expected. It adds a spark of mystery. It lets her know that you are not just going through the motions, you are alive in the moment with her. There is also a neurological truth here. The brain craves novelty. The unfamiliar triggers dopamine, the chemical of excitement and reward. When she feels surprised, not in a grand, performative way, but in the small, subtle noticing of her essence, her body responds with curiosity and desire. She feels awakened because you have broken the monotony of the usual script. And this is why attention is essential. Without attention, you cannot create novelty. Without novelty, there is no spark. It is the noticing of something small combined with the courage to speak it aloud that transforms a fleeting moment into an erotic one. So understand this. Desire is not about rehearsed compliments or predictable gestures. It is about staying awake in the relationship. It is about seeing her with fresh eyes, even if you have seen her 1,000 times before. It is about saying, "The way you just touched my arm made me forget the entire room existed." Instead of, "You're beautiful, one lives in routine, the other lives in surprise." And when she is surprised by your attention, when she feels that you are actively discovering her rather than passively admiring her, she does not just feel wanted. She feels desired. And desire, once awakened, does not stay still. It moves, it grows. It pulls you both into a space where intimacy feels electric again. When you compliment only the surface, you are engaging with the most visible part of a person, the layer that everyone else sees, her face, her body, her clothes. And while these are beautiful, while they may capture your attention at first, they are not what sustains connection. Because the surface is easy to notice, and what is easy to notice is also easy to dismiss. The essence, however, is something else. It is her energy, her curiosity, her playfulness, her fire, her contradictions. When you shift from the surface to the essence, you tell her, "I am not just attracted to how you look, I am moved by who you are." That is when words stop being flattery and start becoming intimacy. To reach the essence, you must pay attention differently. You must listen, not just to what she says, but to how she says it. You must notice the pause before she answers a question. You must notice the way her entire presence changes when she talks about something that lights her up. Anyone can say, "Your hair looks nice today," but only someone truly present will say, "When you talk about your art, there's a glow in you that makes me want to listen forever." This is the language of essence. It reflects not just what the eyes see, but what the heart feels. And that is infinitely more powerful. The surface is safe. It is the place of generic admiration. But the essence carries risk, because to speak about essence, you must reveal your perception. You must say, "This is how you affect me." That vulnerability creates tension, and tension is erotic. The surface may make her smile politely, but the essence makes her body lean in. It awakens something deeper, because it is not about recognition alone. It is about resonance. When she feels that you see not just her appearance, but her soul, desire is no longer a question. It becomes a force. This shift also changes the way she experiences herself. When you stay at the surface, you reinforce the same narrative she has heard all her life, that her value is tied to how she looks. But when you speak to her essence, you invite her to inhabit a different identity. Suddenly, she is not just the attractive woman in front of you. She is the woman whose laughter makes you lose track of time, the woman whose intensity excites you, the woman whose quietness steadies you. You mirror back to her a richness that goes far beyond beauty. And in doing so, you awaken not just her desire for you, but her desire for herself. So stop stopping at the surface, move deeper. Speak to the qualities that cannot be captured in a photograph, the ones that live only in experience. Tell her about the way her presence shifts the air in the room. Tell her about the way her touch lingers long after she has pulled her hand away. Tell her about the way her mind makes you see the world differently. This is not flattery, it is recognition. It is the difference between saying, "You look nice tonight," and saying, "Tonight being with you feels like being exactly where I want to be." One is the surface. The other is the essence. And it is in essence, not surface, that intimacy, attraction, and true erotic connection are born